Hobson?
When shall we three meet again?
My diary says 8:30 at the Turl Club. Why? Problems?
Well, traffic slows too, and I'm not even out of town yet. Fog.
Ellen, it's fine. Don't worry, you saved me a call. Late arrivals from this afternoon's pile-up.
Denn die Toten reiten schnell.
You lot! Fantastic, eh? Go on, help yourself. Just a couple each, eh?
Muddy. Clerval's not back yet, is he? He's going to meet us there, I think.
Morning tide. What's wrong with that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, fine, that's all right then. So long as you're sorry.
Have you seen Clerval?
No.
He's coming. He's going to be here. Rowena.
Yeah, I'm afraid not.
You've reached the voicemail of Dr. Ellen Jacobi. Please leave a message.
Hi, it's me. Sorry, I've just got a call out. You two press on, I'll be as quick as I can. Boys?
Doctor, you're looking very,
I was aiming a little higher than Sergeant. But it's the thought that counts. Shall we?
Body was found just before 8:30.
Just a quick once over and that's your lot.
Oh, somewhere nice.
I do have a life, you know. Small one, but it's my own. I'm running late, so... I think I've been used to it.
Not like this. Stranger, sure. You can find some distance, but... How did you know her?
Flatmates. We were at college here together. Same year. Oh, thanks. We were due to meet tonight, believe it or not. Oh, God. Ellen would be wondering where we are. Ellen Jacobi. When she's in town, we try to get together to meet up, the three of us.
We're gonna need the 12th man in. Dr. Hobson knowing the deceased.
Dr. Rawbone's on his way.
Aberdeen Angus.
Beggars can't be choosers. So who was she?
Professor Willard, scientist. Attached to the Institute of Molecular Biology and Human Genetics.
Ligeia, Willard.
You heard of it?
Well, in a purely professional capacity, there's been threats, stem cell research. Not overly popular with some of the more spiritually certain.
She back?
I've no idea. I've only been home 10 minutes and I walked into all this. Where the hell have you been?
Yeah, something came up.
Well, it wouldn't have killed you to phone Rowena and let her know, would it? Have you any idea how upset she's been?
Sorry, what's it got to do with you?
Well, she's my friend, Victor. I don't want to see her get hurt.
Ow.
Sorry.
Careful.
What happened to you?
Oh, some hearties from Beaufort thought it might be larks to start lobbing champagne flutes.
Well, you better get a shot. Tetanus.
Oh, yes, thank you, Dr. Clerval.
So what's to drink?
Cause of death? Well, it's a close-run thing. First among equals, blunt trauma to the left parietal bone with the resultant fracture. Massive subdural hematoma.
Someone hit her on the back of the head.
I do know some big words, thank you.
What about the rest?
10-inch length of wooden dowel, approximately 1 inch in diameter. Sharpened at one end, driven into the victim's chest. Friend of Dr. Hobson's, I understand. Taking it hard, I'd imagine.
Is that it?
Well, you think anything else would be de trop, wouldn't you? But no, there is something more. I recovered a foreign object from the victim's oral cavity. It's a bulb of garlic.
Full moon last night, wasn't it?
It was.
Some sort of lunatic, do we think? Stake through the heart, garlic. I mean, that's...
Vampires, Mom?
So, anything on CCTV from the car park?
Fog, lots of it, pretty useless.
We're starting preliminary interviews at 10, but James says there'd been threats, mostly to do with her work.
Mixed bag from the devout to the doolally. There are some genuine, well-argued ethical reservations, but the rest is just...
Green Ink Brigade. There's a whole group of them keeps a daily vigil outside the Institute.
What the hell's going on? I had to put my car on a meter. Rufus? I'm so sorry, Nicola.
When did you last see Professor Willard?
Around 7:30. I popped my head round the door to say goodnight.
How did she seem? Nothing bothering her? No personal problems? Or...
Not that I'm aware.
I gather she was divorced. Is there anyone in her life at the moment? Anyone we should be talking to?
Ligeia didn't invite confidences, nor share them. I admired that.
And it's stem cells you're involved in here, is that right?
With a view to the treatment of progressive degenerative illnesses. That's right. Hello. Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, motor neuron disease, MS.
Important work.
We like to think so.
But not without its critics. Professor Strickfaden?
Science is about the pursuit of truth. That always threatens someone.
You know Professor Willard well?
She was a valued colleague, dedicated, diligent, a brilliant scientist.
Personally? Any change in her demeanor recently? Nothing worrying her?
Besides the threats, I think you are better to go and talk to the crazy people that attack us every day as we come and go to work.
Rest assured, Dr. Belisarius, all avenues of inquiry are being pursued.
Of course. Now everything is being pursued with seriousness. But if the police had done their job properly from the first, Ligeia might still be alive.
No, Rowena. I didn't do it.
Well, it wasn't like that last night, buddy. And I know it wasn't me. Maddie?
Well, don't look at me. It'll just be Victor messing about.
Not guilty.
That'll be a first.
And what's that supposed to mean?
We should call the police.
Why? It's just gibberish.
Murder. Help me.
Maybe like there was a murder done here in this house. Maybe like when it was built.
I'm not sleeping in a house with a ghost in it.
Okay.
We need like an exorcist.
Yeah, right, because I'm sure they're listed in the local small ads.
Actually, Rowena, it's, funny you should say that.
Dr. Belisarius says he last saw Willard mid-afternoon.
Suppose an alibi would be too much to hope for.
Of course it would. What about Strickfaden?
Drove straight to his father's at Kidlington.
Will he confirm?
Unlikely, Strickfaden says in his 90s, housebound memories.
Convenient.
not for his father. Some background checks on this lot while we're at it.
Daddy over there to see you, sir.
I was waiting to go on.
Go on where?
The Old Chapel Theatre. I'm there all week, giving readings.
You're an author, is it?
I am published, yes, but for the most part, it's a conversation with the audience. I convey messages to them from the other side.
You're a medium.
I prefer sensitive.
So, what was it you wanted to tell us, Miss Van Tassel? You were waiting to go on, what? You had a feeling, a premonition, was it? Something along those lines?
She was stabbed, wasn't she? I felt it. It was here.
We're very grateful for your information, I'm sure. If you give your details to Sergeant Hathaway, somebody will come by, take a statement.
I see. Well, bye then. Oh, she didn't suffer. You've lost someone close.
Miss Van Tassel?
It was very quick. There was no suffering, just release.
I don't wish to be rude, ma'am, but there's a very serious offence called wasting police time.
Is that what you think I'm doing?
I don't doubt you're very well intentioned, miss. But take my advice. Leave death to the professionals. All right? I was looking for Dr. Hobson.
And you are?
D.I. Lewis.
Oh, come in.
Dr. Jacoby, would it be?
Yeah. Rory said you want the details for Ligeia's ex. I'm afraid they're on my machine at home.
Oh, it's all right. His number was on her mobile. Would you know if she was seeing anyone at the moment?
There had been someone, I think, up until quite recently. But Ligeia said she was off men.
And you were all due to meet up last night?
That's right. Left work about 4:30, home changed, set off just before 6.
Anyone can confirm that?
Work will tell you what time I left. Otherwise, sad and long-standing singleton, I'm afraid.
Not through any failing on your part, I'm sure.
Laura said you were a sweetie.
And am I right in thinking that you were at college with Professor Willard and Laura?
We shared a house together. There were 5 of us. 3 girls and 2 smelly boys. You are? I'll fix some coffee.
What were the results of Rawburn's post-mortem? They'll tell me at work.
Are you up to it?
What else am I gonna do? It's not like we were sisters. Ligeia was just someone I used to know. I should have been a better friend.
Oh, hell. Oh, damn! Yeah, what? I'm at Willard's flat.
What's that noise? Enter her birthday into the keypad.
Yeah, I've tried that. Listen, get on to ARD Home Security, will you? Let them know I'm on the scene.
You going in? What are you planning to do?
I thought...
I mean, you're welcome to stay here.
Would you mind?
No, of course not.
Do you think we should Paul Alec? I mean, they were, you know.
20-odd years back. You're going to seek Pete out as well?
Well, there'll be a funeral and...
Eventually.
I'm sure she'd want Alec to be there.
Ellie, didn't you ever read the instructions? Never return to a firework once lit.
Code is 3071 if you need it again.
3071, right.
Got the engineer to write it down, eh, Benoit?
My memoir doesn't need any aid, thanks very much.
No, of course, I just find it helps to jot things down.
Well, jot this down. Golf 422. Partial registration of a dark-coloured saloon. Notice parked out there last night from just before 8 to just gone 9. Woman next door had trouble last year at Halloween with kids throwing eggs at the door.
So this year she decided to keep a lookout. Yeah, I've seen her twitching at her window.
The driver was a white male, 30s. Tried the bell and drove off.
I'll get onto it.
Yeah, run it past traffic. What's the word on Mr. Willard?
Middle of the North Sea, oil rig Lima Bravo. He's a risk engineer.
Daughter, isn't there?
Yeah, Chloe. She lives with his parents.
And Ligeia was happy about that?
Well, presumably. Scotland's a long way. Less upheaval for the kid.
Maybe.
No. No, there's nothing. Perhaps I might see the rest of the house?
Of course, follow me.
No. Yes, something happened here.
Oh, God. Why my room?
Something terrible. A long time ago. There's a young man.
What's his name?
Maybe it's Casper.
Shh, Roddy.
There's pain. And great sadness. That's why he can't pass over. His life force is bound by grief and memories of earthly attachments. You may let go. All is well. Go. You may depart. There.
Is that it?
Yes. He's gone now.
I don't care. I'm not sleeping in here tonight.
It's all right. Sometimes they just need a helping hand to pass over. The house is at peace now. Can you feel it?
No, just going through the background checks. That uniform got us on the protesters. Willard's flat. Double checking, making sure we didn't miss anything. Oh, usual odds and sods. Minor form, drink driving, shoplifting. Nothing, serious. No, I'm still here.
I think it was important.
What, that you were having a relationship with the victim?
Had. Which this torn photograph would seem to confirm. We, kept it quiet. Ligeia didn't want everyone knowing our business. But, I think Strickfaden knew.
What makes you say that?
He's been so kind to me since what happened to Ligeia.
Why did it finish?
I asked her to marry me. Thought that's what she wanted. Marriage. Children.
She turned you down?
Yeah.
Next, she says she wants to end things. Says she could never make me happy, which of course means I could never make her happy.
Was there someone else?
She said not. And I believed her.
When the address came through, I thought I'd got the wrong number. I lived here. We lived here, Ligeia, Ellen and me. This was our house. This was our house.
A friend's murdered and now this, in the house they shared. Devil's advocate. Any other investigation?
This is Dr. Hobson we're talking about. I've known her for more than 10 years, worked with her.
Maybe that's the problem. So far, she's the only link you've got.
Oh, come on, you don't really think
No, I don't think I follow procedure. Get a statement. Her movements last night and Halloween. Hi, I'm just
I could, take a statement.
No. It's all right. It'd be better coming from me. Thanks.
There's no sign of a forced entry, but then they don't lock the front and the back. Too much coming and going, I expect. Flatmates.
Between 2 and 4 this morning. Save you asking. Have to wait for the PM for anything else.
First impressions?
Throat cut from left to right. Finger marks around the lips and chin. I think we could discount suicide.
You know what he lacks in bedside manner, he more than makes up for in basic incivility.
Get house to house started. Come and have a quick word with the housemates and formal interviews down the station. Separate cars.
Get off, it's my house.
What the hell's going on? Mr. Clairval, is it?
The police were in again. Everything all right? Nikolai?
Yes.
Good. Good.
Up south.
Makes the heart grow fonder.
What do you reckon to this, sir? The girl who found the body was babbling to uniform about a ghost leaving a message. They even had your friend round, apparently.
What friend?
Ursula Van Tassel, or Tessel.
Well, she was here.
Yeah, Rowena was so freaked out she spent last night on the sofa. Now, what do you make of that?
That would be one of those rhetorical questions you're so fond of.
Oh, but seriously, Ursula knew that Ligeia had been through the chest.
It couldn't be an educated guess, could it? A murdered woman, what are the odds it's going to be a knife attack? Better than 50%. It's a numbers game. And that's for all that stuff about is there anyone here with a name beginning with J?
Yeah, it's a cold reading. I'm familiar with the technique.
Go on, then. Read that. Make yourself useful.
Ligeia Willard. Murder, L. Laura Hobson. Help me.
What about the rest?
Well, this is new, apparently. He wasn't here last night. Find Mary Gwilliam.
Who's Mary Gwilliam?
I was hoping you might be able to tell me.
Sorry. Doesn't mean anything.
Might your friend know? Dr. Jacobi?
Ellen? Well, it's not a name I've ever heard of. Sorry. This looks like Gia's room.
Come on. I'll buy you a drink. Then I think you need to tell me as much as you can about your time here.
Sergeant Hathaway, Oxford Police. Wondering if I might have a word, miss.
Oh, Mrs. Corwin. Charlotte. You with that lot then, are you?
May I?
I didn't see anything last night. I'm sorry. Oh, about the one before?
Yeah?
No. No, I can't imagine it's anything. I was out feeding Harry and looking out the window, and the nursery's at the front of the house, and one of the boys from across the road was coming in, that's all.
What time would that have been?
It was the 2 o'clock feed, so anything between 2 and 1:30. Halloween, I suppose.
Do you know which one it was?
I don't know. At first I thought it was the specky one, but...
You sure?
Oh, here!
What's with all the old bill around the weirdos?
This is my husband, Vince. This is Sergeant...
Hathaway.
Yeah.
What's wrong? It's not Harry, is it?
Oh, no, it's fine, it's fine. That's the baby. No, one of the students has been killed. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to...
Weirdos, Mr. Corwin.
Well, goths or emos or whatever it is they call themselves.
How well do you know him?
Not at all, really. We've only just moved in, so...
You haven't had any trouble?
They have some loud parties. We wouldn't mind, but for the baby. I did have a word. They took much notice.
Okay, well, look, thanks for your time. If there's anything that strikes you...
Sure.
Just ask for Detective Sergeant Hathaway.
You tried Mr. Jeffries next door?
Yeah, I rang the bell.
Be at work. Usually gets back about 6. You want to try again?
Thanks very much. This your van?
Why? Need some plumbing doing?
Were you at home last night?
No, I was on shift up at the new superstore in Kidlington. I've got a docket in the van if you want to check it.
No, you're all right.
Who else was with you? Alan mentioned a couple of lads.
Oh, Peter and Alec. Peter Hawkins and Alec Pickman.
You still in touch?
I saw Alec a couple of years back on the Broad, not to talk to. I was driving, but,
Where is he now?
round. From all I heard, he'd given up poetry to become an artist. He read English, took a gap year, and then did his DPhil. To be honest, I think the only reason he stayed on was because of Ligeia.
They were an item.
The item. For her part, anyway. Alec was mad, bad, and lock up your daughters.
And Peter Hawkins?
Wouldn't have a clue.
When did you see him last?
Now you're asking. A couple of days before the after-finals bash. I came down with mumps of all things. So, Cinders, you shall not go to the wall. Well, my dad picked me up and drove me home. By the time I recovered, we'd all gone our separate ways.
So you didn't see him again?
I called him a couple of times. I never heard back. People slip through the cracks. If you're not careful.
Alec Pickman. D.I. Lewis, D.S. Hathaway, Oxford Police.
Ligeia, we are. It's in the paper.
I understand you and Professor Willard were close when you were younger.
And all the world is green. I haven't seen Ligeia in... Oh, it must be 20 years. Who was it put you on to me?
I might ask, sir, where were you on Halloween?
Was it a weeknight? Drunk and incapable, unless, of course, it was the weekend, in which case I'd have been, oh, yeah, drunk and incapable.
Last night?
I would refer my honourable friend to the answer I gave some moments ago. Speaking of which... Can I interest either of you?
No, thank you.
My candle burns at both ends. It will not last the night, but oh, my foes and oh, my friends. It was a lovely light. Cheers.
Do you know a girl called Rowena Trevanion?
I've not had the pleasure, sorry to say. Why, is she pretty?
She was, only she was killed last night at the house on Nethermore.
Nethermore?
When were you last there?
86. So you're digging up Pete Hawkins and the rest of the Weird Sisters, and are you? Collect the set?
Weird Sisters?
They're the two girls who used to live with us. It's a pet name for them. Ellen Jacobi and Laura Hobson. Excuse me, some air.
Does the name Mary Gwilliam mean anything to you?
Whatever you might have heard, there are some women in Oxford with whom I have not been intimately acquainted, although, in truth, I fear I've not always been as kind to the ladies as I should have, or indeed as they deserve. You do have this unreasonable need for someone to rely on. Have you noticed that? Can't say I can't get it. You? Actually, I rather suspect you do. You look the dependable sort. Petey was a bit like you. Type that thinks girls need to ask to be kissed. You know, the kind of sap whose shirt's always wet through at the shoulder with tears. Oh, Petey, you're such a good listener.
You didn't like him?
He's the best friend I ever had. Carried a torch for Ligeia all the way through our time at Oxford. She never gave him a second thought. Not like that, anyway.
Any idea where we could find him?
I was living with his sister in Banbury. Last I heard, Christine came to visit once or twice. Good-looking girl. So is that it? Am I in the clear or am I still in the frame, as it were? What do you think?
I think you're a bit of a fraud, Mr. Pickman, a rag bag of bits of poetry and lines from old songs.
A wand'ring minstrel I, indeed, a thing of shreds and patches, of ballad songs and snatches.
A half cut at 2 in the afternoon. It's sad, isn't it?
Sad, love. Tragic is what it is.
Well, we'll leave you to your picture painting, sir. You're not planning on going anywhere.
Laura? Hey. What is it?
Oh, nothing. Nothing, I'm just being silly.
Oh my God, where'd you find those?
Amongst my souvenirs.
My hair.
Call the fashion, please.
Where's Petey?
I'm probably taking a photograph. Oh, God, look at us. So young. So full of... How do we get from that to this?
Life, my dear. You've not done too badly. You're happy, aren't you?
I just keep looking at Ligeia and thinking... Sometimes I got the feeling...
Yeah, don't upset yourself. Oh, sorry.
Where'd you get to?
Didn't seem fair to be drinking you out of house and home, so... Fancy a nightcap.
Better make it a night top hat.
I went to a gig at the Bear.
What time did that pack up?
Around 11:30, 12. I too much to drink. Ended up on the bench in Botanic Gardens.
Alone?
It was that woman coming. If we hadn't had her around, we should have just left it alone.
How did you find her?
Victor knew her.
How was that?
I don't know. A flyer in the local paper, I think. It was just supposed to be a bit of fun.
What about Halloween? I understand you were meant to attend a party in Ambrose Quad.
Well, I said I might go. In the end, I didn't fancy it.
So what did you do?
Went to the theatre. The old chapel, there was a seance-y type show.
What time did you get home?
I don't know, around midnight. Well, I had a couple of drinks after the show.
Is that how you know Ursula Van Tessel?
And how was everything in the house between you all? No arguments?
No. We all get on. Everyone liked her. What would make someone do that?
It's what we're meant to find out. They seem decent enough, Ma'am, but the alibis for all three are pretty shaky. Last night and Halloween. Particularly that Clerval lad.
What about Dr. Hobson? You have taken a statement.
It might be worth taking a formal statement, sir, purely for elimination purposes.
Did you want something?
We got a match on that car parked outside Willard's tonight. She was killed.
Oh, aye. Lover boy, was it?
I had been refused some trifling additional expenditure, so I accessed the Institute's accounts.
Accessed, Doctor.
There was no criminal intent. I simply hoped to prove my argument. By chance, I came upon an irregular procedure. For the last 5 years, each department's annual underspend has been set aside and drawn on to make payments to a clinic in Jeddah.
For what?
Embryonic stem cells. The Human Fertilization and Embryology Act is quite clear about the use of illegally obtained stem cells.
So why'd you take this to Professor Willard?
She'd been the last person to access the file. I wanted her advice.
And who would have the authority to okay payment for something such as that?
God said, let there be life! God said, let there be life! Natural choice is life!
I have to assume that your benefactors would take a dim view of this institute being involved in criminal activity.
That is, you'll forgive me, quite a naive assessment. The bottom line for Morningtide is just that.
It's about profit.
It's about results, saving lives. A breakthrough here could help hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people. But we cannot make those advances without a ready and reliable supply of material. Look, we're close. We're so close. Every month that goes by puts the availability of treatment back by a year. All those patients, each day becoming more and more lost to their loved ones. If it were in your power to save them, what would you do?
Is that how Ligeia Willard felt?
I tried to talk her out of it. But she was resolved to go public, to bring the sky down upon all our heads. I believe she'd lost her faith.
Her faith?
In science.
Yeah, I've got an address for Mary Gwilym. Only one on the electoral roll. Cowley.
Dead about a week. 10 days. There is some evidence of, what is one supposed to call it now? Enhanced interrogation technique.
She's been tortured.
So it would appear. Cause of death would appear to be asphyxia. You can see where the ligature has bitten into the neck. It's even driven the chain of her St. Christopher, or whatever it is, into the flesh.
She seems to have been a nurse, sir. This one was taken at St. W of Perth.
Scotland.
Or Australia.
So who was Mary Gwilym?
I've got Hathaway looking into her background now, Mum. But according to the neighbours, she was a retired nurse. Divorced, no kids, kept herself to herself.
Connections to the other victims?
Beyond the message on the fridge at Nethermore Avenue, nothing. It's my feeling that the murderer was getting a bit jumpy, that we haven't found her yet.
So what's he trying to say? And where does Dr. Hobson fit into it?
Well, we don't know if she does for sure yet, Mum.
All right, well, keep me posted. Oh, Robbie, I've had the Chief Constable on.
How did Raina's post-mortem go?
Nothing new. Formal ID was... Well, it never gets any easier, does it?
Parents?
Very decent. Distraught, obviously. Well, they did say she'd been dating that Roddy lad for a bit before he hooked up with Madeline.
No residual ill feeling?
Apparently not on Rowena's part. She'd set a cap at Victor lately, according to the mother.
Set her cap at?
It's an expression.
Perhaps they used to listen to the wireless together, sir, or step out once in a while to the picture house.
Right. Just for that, Mary Gwilym's valuables. Bagged and tagged for the exhibits officer. When you want a minute.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Any joy with this hospital, St. W's?
Well, 50 different Williams at least. There's literally hundreds from St. Wacker to St. Wulsin, going by Wendelinus, Winifred, Wilfred Tudis, and all points between. None so far with a hospital named after them in Perth, Scotland or Western Australia.
So far.
There's one other thing, sir. Been going through Mary Gwilliam's outgoing calls.
And?
Well, a couple she made recently to the same number stand out. One was made 7 months ago, and one was the last call she ever made.
I don't remember speaking to her.
That's because I didn't speak to her. When was this meant to be?
Last call was 3 weeks ago, October the 8th. 23:10, 9 seconds in duration.
No. I did get this weird message, but that was eons back.
First call, March the 17th, 4:20 in the afternoon, 1 minute and 8 seconds in duration.
Well, I don't know if it was this woman, but it was a woman's voice. I don't even really remember what she said. Something along the lines of she'd found my number in the phone book, and if I was the Laura Hobson she was looking for, I'd know what it was about.
Anything else?
Well, sounds a bit odd, but I'm pretty sure she mentioned Rochester. Rochester? Well, I've never been to Rochester.
You never called her back?
No, I just assumed she got hold of the wrong Laura Hobson.
Look, I know this is going to sound... Can anyone vouch for your movements the night Professor Willard died?
Robbie.
It's a procedure.
No, there isn't. I left work about 6:30 and went home. I got ready and I was just about to leave for the Turl Club when I got the call to attend Ligeia. Phoned Ellen and left a message to say I'd be late, and I drove straight to the Institute. Anything else? You want me to count for the night that the girl got killed too?
Please.
I took a Valium and had an early night. Ellen was watching TV downstairs. She'll tell you I never left the house. She didn't.
You had to follow it up, sir.
That makes me feel a whole lot better.
So where to now?
Collect the set, Alec Pickman said. So far, the only one we haven't had sight of is Peter Hawkins. Oh, Uniform sent me a last known address.
My brother was never the same after he came back from Oxford. He seemed changed. Haunted.
In what way?
Our mother died when we were 10, Inspector, of what I've since come to learn was an autosomal dominant inherited prion disease, FFI, or to give it its proper name, fatal familial insomnia. There's no cure, and it is invariably fatal. It's caused by plaques developing on the thalamus.
The area of the brain responsible for the regulation of sleep.
Yes. Everyone has bouts of sleeplessness. But for someone with FFI, it may herald a downward spiral which leads inevitably to madness and death.
Are there no tests he could have had?
Not then. Peter and I simply grew up in the knowledge that our blood was in some way tainted. But one day we might go the same way as our mother.
Can't have been easy.
No one lives with it. Or dies with it. Even if only one parent has the gene, any offspring have a 50% chance of inheriting the disease. So, about a year after he came back down,
Peter drove out to Whiteham Wood. And in the early hours of the morning, ran a hose from the exhaust.
I don't suppose you'd have held on to any of his personal effects still?
My father closed and locked this room 19 years ago. No one has entered it since.
You'll find Peter's diaries in the bookcase. He was depressed, yes, but there was something else. Sadness. Regret.
For what?
I don't know. We were sitting looking at the fire one afternoon, and suddenly he turned to me and said, "Would you still love me if I'd done something terrible?"
You didn't press him on it?
Well, we gave each other space. I knew he'd tell me when he was ready. A week later, he was dead.
You look very alike. Is he older or younger?
Younger. By 20 minutes.
James Hathaway, you are a dolt. I've been a bit of an idiot, sir. I've been looking for hospitals in Perth.
As requested.
But it's not in Perth, it's of Perth. You know, the medallion Nick William wore, it's not a St. Christopher, it's St. William, sir. St. William of Perth.
Should I be sitting down for this?
Thank you. William is this wild youth, but upon reaching manhood, he decides he's going to change his ways and devote his life to the service of God. Anyway, one morning, on his way to Mass, he comes across a child abandoned on the steps of a church, and he decides to adopt him.
And this is going somewhere, is it?
In the summer of 1201, he sets out with his son on a pilgrimage to all the holy places in England, and having spent 3 days in Rochester, on his way to Canterbury, his son strikes his father round the head, cuts his throat, and robs him. Local madwoman comes across the corpse and lays a garland of flowers, first on William's head and then on her own, whereupon she's miraculously cured of her insanity. St. William of Perth, aka St. William of Rochester, the patron saint of adoptees and orphans.
And all this gets us where?
Well, up until the late 80s, the St. William of Perth Foundation ran a small number of hospitals, including Homewood Park, Situate, Abingdon. Built in the 1870s as an asylum before being acquired in the 50s and run as a private hospital by the St. William of Perth Trust. It's the asylum graveyard. Developers are in the process of removing the remains for reburial elsewhere.
This was a private hospital.
As far as I've been able to make out, mixed use.
That's a polite way of saying what?
I think admin's this way.
This is where Mary Quilliam worked.
It was used as a place where the well-to-do could send those relatives deemed for some reason or another to be not quite up to snuff. Out of mind, out of sight. The St. William of Perth Trust welcomed all with open arms.
Open checkbooks, more like.
Hang on. This way.
We're off to Mary Gwilliam's Stuff Records.
Or any colleagues who are here at the same time.
Yeah, if it'll point us towards a link with Dr. Hobson. Right, best of luck. I'll leave you to it.
Why, where are you off to?
Trip to the theatre.
How am I meant to get back?
Well, I'm sure a uniform will be happy to give you a lift. I wouldn't leave it too late, mind. I reckon this place will get quite spooky after dark.
To be what I know I'm not, how. Even if I could tell you, I wouldn't say, hey there, darling. Take my blood and let me fly away. Keep my love, but come back another day.
Our loved ones are not lost to us. They merely wait in a place where there are no goodbyes. Thank you.
So what's the trick, Miss Van Tassel?
Oh, it's you.
I have 3 people murdered. 2 of who you seem to have been involved with.
2?
You attended a séance at the house on Nethermore Avenue. There was a young girl there called Rowena Trevanion. And the next morning, she was found murdered. What? No premonitions? No voices in your ears?
I can't explain the gift, Inspector.
You came to us to help publicise your little sideshow.
That was my agent's idea. Coming to see you was mine. It was a genuine impulse.
Been trying to call you.
What is it, man?
There's been another attack. She's alive, just.
Not Laura.
That's her, Dr. Jacoby.
And I'd heard screaming, and I just started running, and I found her up the towpath about 100 yards, face down. Thought she was a goner, but...
Did you see anyone else?
No, thank God. No, shouting as I went, I suppose, tried to scare the bastard off, and they must have heard me coming and thought better of it.
Alec?
When can we speak to her?
Keep her in an induced coma until the brain swelling goes down. Could be a couple of days at least. It's possible that she might not remember anything of the attack, sir. On the upside...
There's an upside?
Yeah, what with all the excitement, I forgot Mary Gwilliam. I managed to trace a colleague.
And?
Gwilliam leaves Homewood Park in 1987, dismissed suddenly under a cloud. My contact wasn't specific, but was under the impression that her licence to nurse had been revoked.
So I get on to the College of Nursing.
Yeah, they'll call me back tomorrow, but what we do know is that she reappears on the radar in the late 90s, working as co-director of the Rochester House Foundation, agency specialising in rehoming Romanian orphans in the West.
You mean an adoption agency?
Of sorts, but no questions asked if the money was right.
Don't stare, Alec.
before about Mary Quilliam, but it seems she worked at Homewood Park Hospital.
Homewood?
What, you know it?
Oxford's not for everyone, Inspector. Hand in hand with a first-class education goes a first-class nervous breakdown. Homewood, amongst other things, is where you got sent if you went off your head.
Victor, we've been looking everywhere for you. Where have you been? Victor? Are you all right?
Oh, come on. Hey, hey, hey! Get up! Come on! Just leave me alone, yeah?
Did Peter Hawkins ever spend any time at Homewood?
Not to my knowledge. Why?
It's just his sister said he was a changed man when he came down from Oxford. Haunted was the word she used. Any idea what she might have meant by that?
Haunted? I don't know. Well, aren't we all, aren't you? The heart is an unquiet house.
What did you mean exactly when you said, amongst other things, with regard to Homewood?
Well, dons of a certain age muttered of it as a place where girls would go who, what was the phrase my tutor used? Found themselves in difficulty.
But you never had any cause to call on their services?
Even if I had, I think twice before mentioning it. There's a rather disagreeable whiff of the presbytery about you, Lewis. I'd hate to lower your opinion of me.
In that particular so you might find yourself a bit hard-pressed.
Oh, I see. It's like that, is it? Are you, No, of course not. No, she likes them a bit wilder, does our Laura.
Sir?
You'll find a uniformed officer posted alongside your boat until this is over, Mr. Pickman.
I think everyone was a bit in love with him back then. Or infatuated. Some of us move on. But Ellen...
Ellen? I thought it...
No, Alec broke it off with Ligeia as soon as she'd sat her finals. It's the one decent thing he ever did for her. We all knew there was someone else. It wasn't until years later I discovered it was Ellen.
Did Ligeia know?
It was all water long under by then. They were close. And I certainly wasn't going to open that particular can of worms.
Laura, we've known each other a long time. As colleagues and, well, friends, I hope. You know you can rely on my discretion. There's nothing else you can think of that I ought to know.
Pete Hawkins' diaries would seem to bear it out, sir. Only as far as he's concerned, Alec's new squeeze was Laura Hobson, not Ellen Jacobi. I know, why would he think that?
I don't know. Unless that's what Ellen Jacobi told Ligeia to spare her own blushes.
And that's assuming that Hobson is telling the truth.
Any reason to doubt it?
Look, sir, I can understand that this is difficult for you.
Oh, dear, really? You don't seem to be having too much trouble with it.
Just trying to keep a sense of detachment, that's all. Same as any other case. There is one other thing. Hawkins is a fairly diligent diarist, but come the end of his time at Oxford, he just stops dead. Doesn't pick up his pen again until a couple of months before he died.
All right, listen, make a note of the date when Hawkins breaks off from his journals, all right? And check it against when they have this finals bash.
You think it has a bearing?
I do, yeah. Let's get the Clerval lad in. See if a lineup can't shake his confidence.
Mr. and Mrs. Corwin, sir.
Ah, Detective Inspector Lewis. Thanks very much for coming. Much appreciated.
Charlotte won't actually have to talk to him, will she?
No. One-way glass. You all right with that, Mrs. Corwin?
We've been up all night with Harry, colic.
Oh, my sympathies. Me and my wife had terrible times with our eldest. Shall we,
bring him with you then?
No, Mum's looking after.
Sergeant Murray just needs a few details from you, Mrs. Cohen. Date of birth, home address.
18th of the 3rd, 86.
I'm sorry about this. I would let you go in with her, but rules of evidence.
No, sure. She'll be all right. I suppose you got a light, have you?
You can't smoke in here, mate.
Of course, sorry.
I'm gonna leave you with Sergeant Wood, if that's all right.
Duty calls? All right. I'll toe the line then, gents.
Those with glasses, please remove them.
Take your time.
So where'd you get to last night?
I told you, just knocking around.
Oh, come on, Victor, you'll have to do better than that. We've got 2 murders and an attempted, and you're not able to give a straight account of your whereabouts for any of them. All right. Let's try Halloween. You made a statement to the effect that you were at the theatre and you got home around midnight.
Yes.
But we've just had positive visual identification, Victor. You were recognised by someone who saw you come back to Nethermore Avenue at 2 in the morning. So which is it?
It's my fault. All of it. Rowena. We'd kind of been seeing each other, and then I went to that show. And I hung around the bar afterwards, and I got talking to Ursula.
Van Tessel? Go on.
Well, I don't know, you know. Just had a couple of drinks and...
One thing led to another, did it? So that's where you were till 2 in the morning. And the night Rowena died, you went back for seconds, did you?
What am I looking at?
Hospital admissions. Look here, between the 16th and the 21st of March, 1986.
I don't understand. She never mentioned it.
There's more, I'm afraid. Given the Mary Gwilliam connection to the Rochester House Foundation and their particular line of business, I took a look at this. Hospital register, 17th of March, bottom right-hand corner of the page.
March 17th, birth, male, 2348, £6, 7 ounces. Mother, Hobson, L. It's a mistake, it has to be.
Check the next entry.
March 18th, birth, female, 0035, £5, 11 ounces. Mother's name, Hobson, L.
She had twins, sir.
I don't believe this. She'd have told me. I asked her outright if there was anything I ought to know.
She lied.
She wouldn't. Not me.
Public records have the birth of 2 children, John and Susan, registered in Oxford in the first quarter of 1986. Mother, Laura Hobson. Father, Peter Hawkins. Mary Gwilym helped to have them adopted through the Rochester House Foundation, but not together. She separated them.
Bring her in.
Sir?
Formal interview down the station under caution.
On what charge?
Obstructing a murder inquiry.
What do we think we're dealing with? They're exacting some kind of bizarre revenge against Dr. Hobson. For what?
Giving her up, maybe? Who knows?
Hathaway? Adoptions registry. Yeah, go ahead. Boy, John, went straight from Homewood Park to a family called Moreau at Woodstock. And the girl, Susan, had around 3 months to a couple called the Renfields in Cowley.
You get an address?
For the Renfields, Susan's adopted parents, yeah.
But not for John?
No, the Moreaus moved from Woodstock in around 89 and then just vanished off the electoral roll. Went abroad, maybe?
Mrs. Renfield. D.I. Lewis, D.S. Hathaway, Oxford Police. May we come in?
We haven't seen Susan for... Well, we had a bit of a falling out.
Sir?
What's all this about?
Is this Susan, Mrs. Renfield? Because we know her as Charlotte.
It's Susan Charlotte. But she didn't like Susan.
But this is Vince Corwin, right? Her husband?
No. No, that's John. John Moreau.
Ambulance and backup, please. 117 Valdemar Close. You have a man down.
See if you can get a trace on a mobile.
It's a mess. Why didn't she tell us what was going on?
Because she didn't know. We should never have doubted her. If anything happens,
Hathaway? Yep, got it. Hobson's mobile, heading west out of Abingdon, 415.
Homewood Park.
How could Dr. Hobson not know what all this was about?
Alec Pickman and Ligeia Willard were an item, right? But straight after finals, he dumps her for somebody else. Now, who would Ligeia Willard turn to for a shoulder to cry on?
Pete Hawkins.
Right, but I think that closeness, her clinging to him for comfort, was more than he could stand. I think he lost control.
That terrible thing he'd done which she couldn't get over, he raped her.
More. I think he left her pregnant
with twins.
You saw Charlotte at that ID parade. What was it they said? She'd been up all night with a baby. That isn't why she's not sleeping.
She'd inherited Hawkins' condition.
Who are you? Why are you doing this? What have I done to you?
What did you do? Gave us living death.
How long can you hold your breath for, do you think?
Don't. Please.
Why didn't Ligeia Willard report it?
Shame. Who would Ligeia blame for what had happened? I mean, in her mind, who betrayed her?
So what, she just checks into Homewood Park, she gives up the children to Mary Gwilliam, who handles the adoption, but their mother is registered as...
Don't!
You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Not nice being scared, is it? To live in fear.
Is that why you did it?
We wanted her to know how it felt. To make her suffer.
Vince.
We gave her enough clues. Her friends, the place she lived, the messages on the fridge, but she wouldn't admit
Laura
it.
Hobson isn't your mother! Ligeia Willard was your mother.
She's lying.
She registered your birth in Laura Hobson's name.
Lying!
Vince! 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 Vince!
lost 3 kids inside a year. So we had tests.
That's how you found your brother and sister? That wasn't all you discovered, though, was it? She can't sleep, can she?
She should never have had us.
Get you help.
I'm so tired.
Oh, no, baby.
I'm scared.
Vince.
Good sleep now.
Vince.
We belong dead.
What do you think will happen to her? Too ill to stand trial, I suppose.
Hospital, madness, death in the end. For want of a nail.
Hey?
Well, if Vince's parents hadn't split up, his mum would never have moved him away from Woodstock. He'd never have ended up in the same school as Charlotte. None of this might ever have happened.
Simple twist of fate.
Ah, fate's too easy. It's lies. Family secrets. If Ellen hadn't lied about her affair with Alec...
See you in the trout later.
Laura.
I can't save you, Alec. I never could. Do the right thing for once, eh? Robbie, thank you. If you hadn't...
We did. We always will. Over the cobwebs.